European Union negotiator Michel Barnier is holding up talks over a free trade agreement by cherry-picking the meaning of Brexit, British sources have claimed. The Brussels bureaucrat has accused the UK of trying to secure a best-of-both-worlds Brexit with single market-like benefits, but has ignored his own attempts to keep the country tied to EU rules. His intransigence has blocked progress on the post-Brexit future relationship between Britain and the EU, according to a senior UK negotiating official. Mr Barnier is still asking the UK to remain tied to the bloc's state aid rules and for continued access to Britain's fishing grounds. The UK official said, "As Michel Barnier said, and often says, Brexit means Brexit, and that is correct. The EU doesn't apply that to these two policies, where the position is that we have fisheries arrangements very much like of the common fisheries policy and we are expected to define a state aid policy that looks very much like the one the EU has. In those areas they don't seem to apply that principle like everywhere else, and that is the frustration." Earlier today, Mr Barnier claimed time was running out to secure a deal after the seventh round of trade talks broke up without any significant progress. The Frenchman blamed Boris Johnson for the lack of movement, claiming the Prime Minister had rowed back on his pledge to inject more vim and vigour into the negotiations over the summer. Mr Barnier told reporters he was worried and disappointed, adding, "Too often this week it felt as if we were going backwards more than forwards. Given the short time left, what I said in London in July remains true," he said. "Today, at this stage, an agreement between the UK and the EU seems unlikely. I simply do not understand why we are wasting valuable time." He pointed the blame at Downing Street and accused the government of not showing enough flexibility to broker a compromise. Mr Barnier said, "Those who were hoping for negotiations to move on swiftly forward this week will have been disappointed. Unfortunately, I too have been frankly disappointed as well, I must say." Prime Minister Boris Johnson told us in June that he wished to speed up. This week, once again, as in the July round, the British negotiators have not shown any real willingness to move forward. The Prime Minister's lead negotiator hit back at the claims, insisting Mr Barnier's negotiating tactics had made it harder for both sides to strike a deal. Mr Barnier has insisted the bloc will not negotiate on wider elements of a trade deal until Mr Johnson agrees to compromise on the more controversial areas.